Hey coaches, welcome to week 2 of our coaching development clinics. Today we're going to be talking about practice strategies and how to carry those practice strategies over to the games when you approach them on the weekends or your weeknights. First off, it's our jobs as coaches to kind of set that tone for our practices. So every time that we step on the field, we are going to practice with a purpose. So every single thing, every single throw, every single time that we play catch is an opportunity to 1, get better, 2, to work on a skill, and 3, to channel it towards that game speed rep. Because we do play catch, once we start working back to our full distance throws, that ball is actually going to be moving pretty much at game speed. So our approach is to take those reps when we're playing catch and applying different skill sets while we're working through. So first way that we set our tempo up for our practices is 1, we always want to have a routine that we're going to put them through. So for instance, my team, when we first step foot on the field, we get cleated up, we have a brief little team meeting, and then we go through the same routine that we do in practice that we're actually going to do in games as well. With that, our routine for our 14U Riley team is team jog all the way to center field, touch center field fence, get them coming back. 1, this gets the blood moving, gets their legs moving, gets their hearts beating. Also, they have that brief time to catch up with their teammates as they're working through that jog. Once we get back in, then we go through our 4 different lines, our 4 lines working through all of our stretches, all of our active stretches, dynamic stretches, a couple sprints going through footwork for stealing bases, and then we play catch. Right when we get to playing catch, that is our opportunity to build skills. Our skills as we're working our way back, definitely our first thing we want to make sure is that we're on our throwing knee, that we're just flipping the ball back and forth, catching it, flipping it. From there, working into our feet, feeling our shoulders, working us through our throws. And now as we start working our way back and those throws we're stepping and throwing, our partner is throwing us the ball. We're going to make sure that we're set up in a position to achieve a specific goal. Let's just be real. None of us are perfect. We cannot expect perfect plays every single time from our athletes. I know we have ages from 8U all the way up to 14U. They're not going to be perfect. No MLB player is perfect. No one that walks on the face of the planet is perfect. So we won't be perfect. However, we can strive to have perfect reps. We can strive to have that perfect rep. Our pursuit for perfectionism is awesome. We're going to really focus on that as we take these reps. Again, not every rep is going to be perfect, but our strive, our goal, our whole path is we want to make sure that we practice with that perfect mindset. All right, so we're going to create a routine. We're going to create a routine that stimulates game situations. As we're working our way back, our players, we're going to make sure that we understand the proper footwork for receiving the ball. So we always want to receive with 2 hands. So as my partner's throwing me the ball, I'm just going to make sure that I give my good target. My thumbs are together. I'm making sure that I'm ready to catch that ball, and I'm going to close it. All right, so right when we catch it, we're going to make sure that we close it. We're going to make sure that we're receiving the ball properly. Whenever we have the opportunity to catch the ball, we want to make sure that we catch the ball in the middle of our body, so now we can go through our transfer, our exchange, and we're in a good throwing position. Option 2, as we're working back, 1, our first option as we're working through, is making sure that we're receiving the ball properly. Our second thing is we do have opportunities during practice to actually practice on relays, our cutoffs. We have the opportunity to work through that practice if it's in our practice plan, but why not apply those skills while you're playing catch? So as that partner's working their way in, as they're throwing, our goal is to get ourselves set up. We're seeing that ball come in at a line. We're going to turn our hips and we're going to prepare ourselves to catch the ball, exchange, and be ready as if we're performing a relay. Okay, so every single time we're thinking, okay, ball's coming, ball's coming, ball's coming. I'm going to get my hands together, thumbs together, catch it. I'm going to be ready for my relay. Situation 3 that we're going to work through. As that ball is coming through, as that ball is being thrown to me, while we're playing catch. Again, this is all taking place at the beginning of practice. As that ball's coming in, we're working on double play feeds or quick hands or getting ourselves in position to where we can catch the ball, exchange it, and we're ready for that next throw. So we're thinking, catch the ball in the middle of my body, boom, I work into my quick hands or my double play feeds or however we want to take it. Option number 3. This is where we are going to be working towards our catchers. Our catchers, even our middle infield. Heck, it also applies to a lot more positions than we actually think about. My catchers, we're actually going to make sure that we center up on the ball. So if that ball's coming on this side, we're just going to shift our body to the side. We're going to set ourselves up into a nice throw down position. So we don't have to get into our full secondary. We're just going to get our feet ready. And we're thinking catch, pop, get into a nice throwing position. So again, seeing where that ball is, setting up, catching, pop, and I'm in my good throwing position. Those are the opportunities that we get to work on each and every day that we play catch. Those are the opportunities for us to grow as teammates, to grow as players, and to work on those skills that we don't necessarily get to do all practice long. Yes, there may be small sections during practice, maybe 15 minutes that we work on relays, or 15 minutes that we work on double plays, or even sometimes even shorter that we work on that. So why waste our play catch time on just catching the ball and flinging it to your partner? Why not be working into your relays? Why not be working into your double play feeds? Why not be working into your throwdown footwork? Those are the opportunities for us to create that culture and set that reminder for our teammates that every single rep matters. That starts from 8U all the way up to 14U. And I know for a fact, playing college ball and pro ball, that all of those players are working on those things during their play catch time. While we're playing catch as coaches, we want to make sure that it's not one of those things that we say, all right, go get warmed up, and now we just hang out at the dugouts. We cannot coach a team properly. We cannot make sure that our players are doing things properly if we're not monitoring it. Even the oldest player still needs a little bit of hand-holding. Every single player needs to be nudged in the right direction from time to time. So this is our opportunity to spend that 20 minutes, those 15, 20 minutes that we get warmed up, that we're checking in with players, that we're making sure that we're playing catch, that we're making sure that they're doing the things that we need them to do. It's kind of like walking a dog. If you've ever walked a dog, or if you ever have a dog that you walk, there's a saying that states, you give them an inch on the leash, they're going to take a mile. Meaning that if I actually let them a little bit of that leash go and give them a little bit more space to walk with, they now are going to assume that they have freedom to now drag you and your body down that street. So we want to make sure that we have a leash on them, that they know what they need to hold, what they know that they now know what they need to work through, because we are right there reminding them each day to get their work done. So my approach when we get to our practice is step on the field. I make sure that we always build camaraderie and chemistry with our team. So it's always checking with the teammates. Hey, Bob, how you doing? Doing all right? Getting A's in schools? Who had tests? Yada, yada, yada. Now as we work into our play catch time, hey, how's your arm feeling? Oh, it's feeling good? Awesome. Now let's make clean, crisp throws. As they're working their way back, maybe now, hey, don't forget, now we're working into our drop sets for our relays. Now we're working on going and getting the ball, getting into our double play feeds, getting into our catcher throwdowns. All of that stuff applies. And we need to make sure that we're there and that we're not just a passive coach during this time, that we are actually being active, that we're there to remind them and work on those skills. That's all starts from you coaches. That's all that starts from you guys, from those first few minutes. All right, and now we've kind of talked through the different situations that we have as we work our way back with our teammates. As we get to our long toss, now we're trying to just air it out. We're trying to get our perfect crow hop. We're thinking about stepping in and giving us a nice long throw to our teammates. That's our long toss. Now I need you to understand, as we're working our way back in, that is actually when we're working on pulling the ball down. Okay, we're working on actually strengthening your arm. Yes, long toss is going to strengthen your arm. But as we work our way in, that is where our high intensity throws come into play. So whether you're at 90 feet, 120 feet, 220 feet, 300 feet, however long is your max long distance throw, whatever it is, as soon as you start working your way closer and closer and closer with your partner, we need to make sure that we are now getting into our crow hop and pulling that ball down and putting it on a line drive, on a line to our partner, okay? As we're working through that, that is our opportunity to, one, let our arms loose, let the arm fly, let the ball fly, work on that strength. But two, hitting that position, hitting that person, hitting our targets with those hard throws. This is where it translates into game speed. When we're on the field, we never really lob the ball. Okay, occasionally we lob the ball on like base hits, things like that, like just to get the ball in. However, most of the game, we're actually going to have high intent throws. So that's where we actually train ourselves, and we actually, as coaches, we train our players to treat those throws like we're in game speed. So we want to make sure that we understand as we work our way back in that we're putting that ball on the line drive. Once we get in about 20 feet out or 10 yards or something right around that space, this is where we actually stop and we start working into position-based focuses. All right, position-based focuses. All right, this is where we break into whatever you want to work through. So typically, I know it naturally does this from time to time, where my outfielders actually play catch with each other, my infielders actually play catch with each other, my pitchers and catchers typically play catch together, or so on and so forth. If it's not like that, I suggest you adopt that style to where my outfielders play catch with each other, my infielders play catch with each other, my catchers play catch with each other. Because, one, if my infielders are playing catch with each other, when they get into games, those are the fellas that they're actually going to be throwing the ball to. My outfielders, it works on that team chemistry. If my outfielders are playing catch with each other, it works through that team chemistry because now you're getting used to playing catch with each other, you're talking, you're getting to know them through their throws and through their actions. But now when we're in the outfield and I see my boy over here that I just played catch with, I know that dude. I know who that is. And I have that team chemistry, I have that camaraderie with them, then now we could trust each other in that outfield. So it is an opportunity for building team chemistry and building that camaraderie. So now let's get back to when we get to those 10 yards. When we get to those 10 yards, we're going to be working on position-based focuses. So whether that's us working into some short hop drills, okay? So partner A. So let's just say for you guys in the camera, you guys are going to be my partner A. I'm the partner B. On this setup, we're going to be working through partner A's are going to now be feeding me a nice short hop. So this is where we work on game reps or skill work. Okay, so we're working on getting those short hops. We're thinking about setting ourselves up to pick that ball and work through those short hops. Yeah, I may get it, and now I flip it back to my partner. I work on that hop. We're not working on the throw. We already worked on the throws. So now we're working on our glove work. We're going short hops there. We're working on short hops with our backhands. We're working on normal feeds. We're working on straight up down the middle. We're thinking pop, give the ball back to my partner. My first baseman, possibly your work. What do we usually do as first baseman? We work on stretching, catching the ball. What else is a skill that first basemen have? We got to be able that we pick the ball. So now we're thinking about stepping and picking that ball. We're working on those short hops, those picks that actually save our infielders, our shortstops that short that ball. Those are skills, those are the opportunities for us to work through it. Now let's transfer over to my outfielders. You're only 10 yards away, so you should be able to flip a ball straight up or a nice little lob to where my outfielders can now read that ball, get underneath it, and we're just going to position our glove right outside of our ear. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're not hovering straight in front of our body or right in front of our face. We want to make sure that we're straight outside of it. Offhand, our throwing hand just gonna be set up right here. So we're gonna make sure that we're set up underneath that ball. We're in an athletic stance, catching it, and potentially we catch it, we funnel it, or we catch it and we work into our crow hop. Okay, so we're set up, glove here in athletic stance, catch that ball to the chest, and we're ready to make that throw. Now let's go towards our catchers. What do you think catchers are known for? Sure, blocking, sure, receiving, but why not work on our throwdown work? Okay, so now we're set up in our secondary stance. We're thinking, getting ourselves in a good position. We're thinking catch, pop, 1, 2, get in your spot. These are the things that all happens during those 15 to 20 minutes as we play catch. There's a UCLA coach that actually posted a video pretty recently. It was him doing a talk with his teammates, or with his players, because he's one of the coaches, talking about his players, that every single practice, and I know you coaches can relate to this, where you get through practice and every once in a while this section starts going long, or it gets boring, or you're beating into the ground, or whatever, you just run out of time. What do we do in that instance? We typically cut it short. Okay, we typically cut it short. But this UCLA coach, a Division I coach, was talking through that they will never shorten their play catch time. They will always lengthen it. They'll always have that opportunity to make sure that they do things right. Okay, so that's where I'm going to really focus on with you coaches, is making sure that those first 15 to 20 minutes, you're working on dedicated time to build your strengths, build that skill work, and this all happens right at that first moment of practice. All right, so now that we got through all the pre-practice stuff, all the pre-practice routines, all of the stuff that we accomplished during our play catch time, now we're going to translate into the actual practices or the actual pre-game routines that we go through. First off, I want to actually state that every single team, yeah, we have a culture through performance baseball and performance softball. Yeah, we have a routine, we have a culture, we have a thought on how things need to be done. However, when we get onto the field, I'm not at every single practice. Coach Dean, he is not at every single practice. Coach Seth, Coach Jose, the coaches that you see at our skill development nights, we're not at every single practice with you guys. So we understand that there will be different team cultures. Every single team has its own team cultures. That thought process is, those cultures actually depict what is expected. You as a head coach or an assistant coach, you actually set that tone for your teams. That culture is, hey, what do we do? What is our thoughts? How do we pull together? What's our team chemistry? What's our camaraderie? There's a couple coaches that we have on our staff that are more yellers, the ones that actually get onto our teams during game of play. We have high expectations. Some coaches are not quite like that. Some coaches may be a little bit more reserved, or they may actually, their takeaways may be, and their feedback may be applied later on, maybe potentially after the game or after the inning. There's definitely different situations and different cultures and different styles that we apply to each team. So with that being said, we're going to go down this little rabbit hole that when we design our practices, when we design all of our different skill development situations, our different drills, the different setups and approaches that we have with our practices, it's all trial and error. Whatever I do with my 14U team may be completely different and may be understood completely different than if Coach Dean applied it to his 14U team, or with Coach Sean at the 8U team, or Coach Jeff with our 10U team. We want to make sure that when we apply drills, and we're going to get into a couple different drills and different scalings in a moment, but I want you to understand that if you see drills done, or if you have different styles, it may be the opportunity to go down rabbit holes and see exactly how these players actually pick up and learn. So with that said, it's a lot of trial and error. So one drill may work great for this group. It may not work great with this group. Or you have different scalings. One drill may be great for these 3 players, but however, these 3 players over here, they may not understand quite as much, or they may be different styles of learners. So make sure that you have trial and errors, and take notes, take mental notes on where we need to apply these trial and errors with our different skill development opportunities. With that said, YouTube, websites, the internet is just loaded with great content that we could utilize. There are a lot of great coaches out there. There's a lot of great individuals that talk through and teach different styles of drills. However, not all of us are major league style coaches. Not all of us are really high level coaches. And that's okay. And that's okay. I want you to think through, when you see these drills, is find something that you are really knowledgeable on. Find a situation that you're very knowledgeable on and coach to that. I don't want you to ever think about that you're going to go take this super complex idea and now go coach it to a whole group of players when you yourself are not comfortable coaching it. So start with what you know really well, work that into your practice plans, and now as you get super comfortable with those different skills that you're teaching them, now start adding or get a little bit more complex and start learning new things as you coach through it. So again, it goes back to that trial and error. 1, implementing drills, but 2, seeing what scalings you need to do for your coach. Now that we've gone through all of the pre-practice routines, all the different things that we can work through, now let's work on designing our drills. We always want to make sure that our players are set up for success. So we never want to just tell them, hey, let's go hit. Because if we go take 100 swings, if we take 100 swings with mediocre or terrible mechanics, all that does is going to set our players up for failure. Let's start that over. All right, so now that we've gone through all of our pre-practice routines, all of our play catch drills, now if we get into the meat of our stuff, all of our drills, we're going to start talking about actual drill design. I'm going to give you 2 different things, 2 different paths that we'll work through. We're going to work through offense right now, so a little bit of hitting drills. We want to make sure that every single time that we step foot into a drill, that they're actually going to have something to take away. So we want to make sure that they always get at least 1% better, because hey, that progress is progress. If not, they should be able to learn new things. Not every player has it down pat. Not every player is perfect. Not every player is going to be a professional. So we want to make sure that each time that we get to swing our bat or go through a drill of fielding or throwing or whatever it is, that we're always going to be succeeding, that we always want to be progressing. So when we're stepping into a cage or the field or a drill where we're setting up for a tee, is we want to make sure that we break it down. We never want to just jump straight in and go game speed. We want to make sure that they feel their swings. We want to make sure that they have the proper setup for success. At the end of the day, the reps that we complete on the tee will immediately translate to when we see a pitch in a game. We want to make sure that the mechanics that we achieve here are going to now cross over into our game speed stuff. So if we apply 100 swings on this tee, day in and day out or week in, week out, with terrible mechanics, all we're doing is setting our players up for failure. So we want to make sure that we break things down. A lot of players cannot pick up every single thing that we're teaching them. So with drill design, we want to make sure that we break it down into bite-sized pieces. We want to make sure that we have small little items that we are now going to check off, and we continue progressing, okay, to our full game speed rep. When we get onto the tee, I'm just going to walk you through a couple drills that I like working with my hitters, as well as when I'm an instructor, when I'm in instructor mode. These are the drills I take them through when we get through our team practices. These are the drills I work through with my players, and it sets them up for success. Are they all professionals? No. Again, it goes back to that mindset. We are not pros. We are not going to be perfect. But all we can do is we're going to strive to be perfect through every rep. So instead of me saying, hey, let's just swing away, let's just hit the ball 100 times. No, we're going to make sure that we achieve success at every chance we get, for every path or every small bite-sized drill that we work through. So I like working on swings from the first approach to our finish, and then immediately working our way through those different setups to where we can get into game speed. So what I like to do with my athletes is I'll set them up, and we'll call these dead stop swings. Our setup is making sure that we're into a good loaded and launched position. We're going to make sure that we attack that ball properly. Okay, a lot of youth athletes, if you actually slow-mo their swing or you focus on them, they tend to come into the ball as like this. The problem with this swing is that now we are set up for failure. We will never, ever build that muscle memory to be strong with our swing. This is actually a compensation path for our youth athletes. They're not quite strong enough. They actually swing the bat, but this bat actually swings them because they just too heavy, too big, whatever. They haven't quite developed that kind of strength. So we always want to make sure that we set them up for success. So if they need a choke up on the bat, that's fine. We want to put them in a good position. So we want to make sure that when we attack the ball, that our right hand actually looks like an L. We want to make sure that we're at a palm up and a palm down position. So to simplify it, again, bite-sized pieces, we're going to get to our launch position. Okay, my back hip may be just a little bit finished. Okay, I'm going to be in my launch position. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to attack the ball into a good position, and that ball is going to fly, and that's all I'm doing. I'm going to attack that ball, make good contact, stop, and now I'm working on that bat awareness. I'm making sure that I'm in a good spot to attack that ball. From there, I may either go to a full swing, I may work through. So 3 progressions I like doing with this drill is my dead stop. I like actually going dead stop finished or getting a little bit more through the ball. So getting to my launch position, boom, getting through it. And then the next step up before we go into a full swing is same setup, get into my position, and now I'm just going to dead stop finish my swing. Those are the items that I work through at the start of every hitting section. From there, you can give them another bite-sized path to work down, is adding in the step. So wherever they're set up, now they get into their step, dead stop. Now they get into their setup, dead stop finish. Lastly, they're working into their finish swing. Different items, different drills that now we could pick apart a full swing and go down these bite-sized avenues. Those are just drills that work for me. I know some of you like working into our one-handed drills, which is perfect. There's always a time and place for those drills, our one-handed swings. But I suggest working on something like that. We never want to make sure our youth athletes are coming at the ball like this. We want to make sure that they're in a nice, good, strong position to hit that ball. All right, so now that we got through some of the bite-sized drills that we've worked through with hitting, now let's talk through bite-sized fielding drills. These are items that you can do on the field. You can do it at the indoor. I know the lab that has that middle area that's wide open. You could throw this in at all practice and at least entertain 6, 8, 10 players. Heck, you can even have the whole team work through these drills and these progressions. You can also do this during the infield portion at your practices. Again, the more skill work that we can accomplish with our gloves, the smoother we're going to be as fielders, and the better that we're going to be on the field. Okay, so bite-sized portions, just like our swing mechanics, where we're breaking through that swing just from our attack to our through the ball, or even our step to get to the ball. Now let's talk about fielding. So, easiest setup. We want to make sure that things are simple. So, with that being said, we're going to work into fielding a ball with bare hands. Okay, so no need for a glove, no need for your legs even. We're going to make sure that we're on 2 knees. This is, again, starting small and building up to the finished product. Partners, again, going back to our play catch mindset, where partner A is going to be across from me, partner B would be myself. Partner A is going to be on this side, they're going to be kneeling as well. We're going to make sure that we're in a setup in a good fielding position. So we're going to make sure that our hands are tucked pretty much close to us or out in front. We always want to make sure that we attack that ball out in front of our nose and not underneath our chin. So we want to make sure that we're set up to where we can actually go work through the ball. So for this setup, yeah, we always want to field with 2 hands, but we want to make sure that our glove hand is doing the proper work. So with this being said, we're going to work into short hops or grounders. We're going to make sure that we work through the ball, catch it, pop it back to your partner. Okay, we're going to work pop, get it back to your partner. You can even have a solo drill. You can let them work through this on their own as well. Hands set up, drop, work through. Hands work back, drop, work through. Hand back, drop, work through. Do this with our forehand, where we're setting up glove side. So we're same thing, partner's rolling the ball, or we're working from our back hip to our belly button. We're thinking pop, work through, pop, work through, pop, work through. Backhand, same exact thing. We're working from our belly button to our front hip. We're thinking pop, work through, pop, work through, pop, work through. Those are the simple drills that we work through. From there, you can either let them go to their feet, work on to the same drill, same exact setup, we're out in front, pop, work through, field it, funnel it, add the glove. Again, bite-sized portions to make sure that we're set for success. If we just put them at shortstop and we just hit fungos all day long, hit them ground balls, they're probably not working on those small little skills that we need to actually implement for fielding to be proper. Okay, we want to make sure that they're working through these small reps, so when they go attack the ball in the field, that they're set up for success and they're able to go do it properly, so they can field the ball cleanly, so they can field the ball properly. So as they progress, as they go from 8U to 9U, all the way up to 14, 15, when they start going getting recruited for college, we want to make sure that they're doing things properly. That is our goal, to make sure everything is properly. Those are the ways that we can simplify things and make sure that they're all in bite-sized portions for our players to succeed. All right, so now let's talk about designing drills. Okay, how we actually design drills. For our drills, we're always going to have like a defensive day. We may have an offensive day. We may have a group focus one day. These are actually, could also be sections and portions throughout practice. For instance, my practice, we typically have our play catch, and then we'll split into small groups. We'll have like our infielders do some drills. We'll have our outfielders work through drills, and then we'll work through a team focus. So whenever we design our drills, we always want to make sure that we're attacking different options, different opportunities for success. All right, so now let's talk through our easy or our beginner stage drills. So yeah, double cuts, double relays that you'll go through in our higher level portion may not apply to some of our younger groups. So this is our easy ones. This is our easy drills for our players to accomplish. So again, we're just working through all defense here. Bucket signals where we need to be as we creep to our play. So as that pitcher or the coach is going into their windup, we're making sure that we creep our way up and we get ready into our nice set position. The 3 cones distinguish where we're going to work around, but also the different angles and different spots that we're going to be fielding the ground balls. So I'm going to be working my way up. From here, I'm going to be in my nice athletic stance. I'm going to expect the ball to be hit at me. That cone is where I'm just going to be fielding a straight up grounder. So my goal is to get around this bucket. I'm going to go into my 3 steps, my left, right, left to field the ball. So I'm going to be working in my left, right, left. I'm going to be making sure that I get in front of that first cone. Again, if you're working with some smaller players, the cones may not be as spread out. Since I'm taller, I just have a little bit longer legs. I can get away with a little bit wider of a setup. So know your players, know your audience. So now I'm set up into a nice fielder's position. I now worked around the ball and set up for it. You can use this as an opportunity to field the ball cleanly. Just do this as the drill. But you can also have those two cones signal by pointing and dropping into a nice backhand position, pointing this side, dropping into a nice forehand position. So this is what it would look like. Creeping in, get ready. I get into my left, right, left. And now if coach points this way, now I open, I drop, and I'm forehand position. For our backhand, we're working through creep in, pop, left, right, left. Coach signals this way, I open, I get back, and now I'm into a nice backhand position. So those are the simple things that we can work through. This is our easy level for our defensive drills. All right, for our medium level drills, our infield drills, here's one suggestion that we can work through. Allowing us to be set up and actually giving visual. We have a lot of visual learners. A lot of our athletes, they're not so much going to be auditory learners, they're going to be visual learners. So we want to make sure that they have as many opportunities to actually see what's expected of them. So for instance, I just have a shortstop set up. This will be a very simple drill for you to set up. All it requires is a stack of cones. You could do this for one position. You could do that for your middle infielders, your corners. It could be set up for a number of positions on the field. So for this example, I'm going to be set up as shortstop. Second base will be located there. We're just going to say catchers are going to be pretty much straight in front of us, straight in front of me, off to this side. So these three different cones are going to be set up in a specific fashion to make sure that we are allowing them to see what depth and where they should be located. So these are some drills that we can either field from, or we can go through some dry reps just so they have the understanding. My far cone over here, this is where we would be for a straight up defense. So let's say nobody's on, no runners are on, we have no outs, we're not expecting anything other than a ball hit to us. Okay, we're not playing any special defense. This is just the location that we're going to be set up as shortstops. Okay, so we're back behind the bag. We're setting us up for the best chance, the best range that we have to field the ball. My shortstops need to have a big range, so we're making sure that we're playing a little bit deeper than usual. This is my straight up defense. Now the other codes will be examples and different setups for perhaps our double play defense. Okay, so when we have a runner on first base, we want to make sure that our middle infielders play a little bit closer up the middle. So we're going to make sure that we're set up a little bit closer double play depth. So when we yell, hey, middle infield, double play depth, this is exactly where they think that they need to be. So they have that visual. They know exactly where they need to be. If we yell, hey, we're playing in, infield in, infield in, infield in, this is where we're going to be set up. We're going to be in our base path. We're going to be playing either in the base path or edge of grass. This is where we're set up for our in. We're going to make sure that we're set up on our in offense. So these are ways that you can design. You could, again, go through infield, outfield with this. You can set them up, be like, hey, we're playing back, straight up D. All right, where do you got to get? Right here. All right, infield in, where we need to get. My infielders are going to be located here. This is our medium level defense, our medium level for this example. All right, so now let's go through our higher level cone drills. For these, this is where we can actually use the cones to actually place on the field, similar to our medium style. Our medium style just kind of showed us the three different defensive setups for a shortstop. Now let's talk through a higher level. Relays, cutoffs, all of that situation. We still want our AU to really succeed with our cutoffs. However, we know that it's almost like herding cats. So we want to make sure that as we continue showing them where we expect, this is a great way to give them that visual aesthetic for them to learn. So I just have very simple 3 different cones. I have a cone on the base. So we're talking through, again, we have the setup as a shortstop. Second base is located here. Let's talk through a fly ball to left field. So fly ball to left field, this cone simply just states, hey, where's the second baseman need to be? So our second baseman is just going to be set up here. His verbiage, he's making sure that he lines up our shortstop, okay? These shortstop positions, we're going to make sure that we are getting depth. We're out on that left field, that shallow left field, making sure that we're hands up, making sure that left fielder knows who they're throwing through. So cones are a great opportunity for you to now set up and give them that visual for where they need to be. You could potentially, at some higher level, if they do relays very well, you can start working your way into double cuts and double relays. So that's, for instance, why I have 2 cones out here. To show that if that ball goes all the way to the wall, my shortstop is now out here. My second baseman is now trailing behind me. My first baseman is now trailing the runner to second base. Or we're actually going to swing it over and attack someone at third base with that double relay. So these are just different opportunities that you can set up. Just wanted to give you an example of what the cones would look like at a higher level if you're implementing it with relays or cutoffs or giving them that takeaway of where we need to be. All right, now let's talk through another setup for drills. These are just examples for you to take away and apply at your practices this upcoming week. So for these drills, they're all going to be implemented without a glove, so our barehanded drills. This is actually going to pertain to a lot of fly balls. We want to make sure that we always pocket up the ball. So we always want to make sure that we pocket up the ball. We never want the ball to hit our heel of the glove. We never want to snow cone it. We want to make sure that it catches right in that pocket. So when we work through barehanded drills, we're actually going to make sure that we have that pocket awareness and we're catching the ball properly. Also, a lot of our athletes, since we have a lot of youth age kids, this also applies up to the 14 units. Yeah, their hands may be a little bigger, but when we work bare hand, we have to focus on that 2-hand component. We have to make sure that we pocket it up, but we apply those 2 hands. You can also implement an opportunity if there is failure with this. So if they don't use 2 hands when they drop the ball, there may be a disciplinary action like sprints or, hey, run to the pole or keep track for the end of practice, and they may have to run the bases for it. So you can also throw in that aspect so we have that opportunity to practice perfect reps. For this, we're going to go into our easy stage for tracking fly balls without a glove. This all comes down to our youth age players. We may have some older players that need this easy process. It's always good to practice basics, but this is our easy level. This pertains to tracking fly balls barehanded, but we're not actually going to be tossing the ball. We're going to make sure that we're set up. The ball is going to be placed right inside on my 3 fingers. If their hand's a little smaller, they're just going to wrap their fingers around this so they're nice and secure. Okay, set up. My outfielders are always going to be moving. They're going to be ready for that fly ball to go. This will be cued by the coach. If he points this way, your goal is to open, get behind the ball, track it, imagine fly ball. I'm going to be set up in a nice athletic stance. So if I'm facing this way, I'm going to make sure that I drop and I'm in a nice athletic stance. I'm making sure that I'm ready for that ball. I'm going to make sure that my glove hand, my ball that's in my glove, is going to be positioned right outside of my ear. Okay, I'm catching it right outside of my ear, and I'm set up in a nice perfect position to where I can catch it. Say fly ball, catch, 2 hands. Okay, this allows us to get in that perfect position. So from straight on view, I'm ready. Coach points this way. I get back, I'm set up, catch, close. That's my opportunity to work through this drill. Same thing applies on this side. Coach points, I turn, I open, I turn, I set up, in a nice stance, ball in, catch, 2 hands. You can also have the opportunity where they set up, they toss that ball to themselves, catch it, close it, and now they do a crow hop into their position. So different ways that you can go to progress these drills. It doesn't have to be top level progressions. It could be as simple as add in a crow hop, add in a toss to themselves. Those are the opportunities to progress these easy drills. All right, for our medium level fly ball bare hand drills, this is very similar to our easy level or beginner level. This is going to be our medium level. This is where the coach is actually going to toss the fly balls. So you may have worked through something similar like this. However, same setup applies to our easy. We're going to make sure that we get our creep and we're in our nice ready stance. Coach will point, we'll turn, coach will toss one up, and we'll make sure we set up, catch with our bare hand, 2 hands, and now I'm into my crow hop. Same thing applies on this side. I creep in, I get set, coach points this way, I turn, I find the ball, I set up, I catch it, 2 hands, now I'm into my crow hop. That's our medium level. All right, so now for our hard level drills. These are the advanced drills that we could work through. For a lot of our older kids, our hand sizes are probably a little bit bigger than some of our younger athletes. So we want to make sure that we treat it with that big hand approach. So with this being said, we always want to make sure that we're catching that ball in the pocket. So for some of our older guys or for our progressed players, we want to focus on catching the ball with 3 fingers. Why? This allows us to really focus on that pocket awareness. We want to make sure that we pocket up the ball. So similar drills for our easy and our medium, same exact setup. We're setting ourselves up with that pre-pitch creep. We get in a nice athletic stance. We're expecting that ball. Same thing applies. We may launch it a little bit higher, so we allow us to actually stay underneath that ball and be strong with our hands. But for this drill, we're going to make sure that we're catching the ball with 3 hands. So coach will tell you left or right, pop, get in our nice athletic stance. We'll make sure we're behind the ball, hands ready, outside that ear, 3 fingers, crow hop. You can progress this with a throw as well. That's our way to progress these barehanded drills, going from our easy to our medium to our more advanced drills. These are our barehanded drills. All right, coaches, so now that we're at the final stages, the last few minutes, I want to kind of recap everything that we've worked through. We've talked about setting the tone for our practices, how we want to make sure that we're active coaches in our practices, making sure that we don't say, hey, go warm up, and then us just go sit down on the bench or in the dugouts and just hang out. We want to make sure that we're active in practice, that we're actually making sure that our athletes are doing things properly, doing the things that we expect them to do, but also coaching them through and coaching them up through these opportunities. Second thing we work through is designing our drills. So we want to make sure that we design our drills appropriately to the different stages or the different levels of players and athletes that we have. So we're not always going to know everything. So for our coaches, we want to make sure that find something that you know. Make sure that you stick to things that you know. Don't try to be something that you're not. Don't try to coach things that you're not quite comfortable with. It's okay. Stick with what you're good at. Coach the heck out of it. Make sure that you're coaching them well, and then find that opportunity to now progress your coaching skills by adding a little small component each day and each day and each day to get more comfortable with those higher level skills. So you're not going to be an expert. You're not going to be a pro. It's okay. Not all of us are. We want to make sure that we're giving our athletes the best possible coaching experience as possible. Lastly, we gave those different takeaways for easy or medium or upper advanced drills. A couple different drills for you to take away. These aren't the say-all, be-all drills. That's the great thing about being a coach. That's the great thing about being in the opportunity that we are in our position, that we can now adapt and find what works for our athletes. Yes, we're a team. Yeah, we're a family. Yeah, we coach similar when we're under this umbrella. However, you need to see what works with your players. We want to make sure that it is trial and error. find the things that work with your athletes, see what they respond to, see how we can progress them, and get them to that next level. Thank you, coaches. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you took some notes or have a couple takeaways as you head into this next week of practices. See you at the next coach's development.